Antoine Airoldi here from the Antoine Airoldi Show, and I'm with Hugo Prince, the host of The Road to the IPO.
What's up?
And today we are here with Jamie Benizri, an attorney by trade and entrepreneur at heart. So thank you for being on the show.
I love being here.
Hey, what's
So-
up?
I love being here.
Everyone should know you by now, but for those that don't know you, can you explain to us more about you and what you do?
So you nailed it. I'm an entrepreneur that happens to be a lawyer, and it kind of happened by accident. I actually applied to medical school.
Yeah.
I wasn't smart enough.
Good.
I got rejected everywhere. And universities have this you can do plan B and plan C.
Yes.
So I think I put in le droit, just kind of as a plan B, because I said, what else are you going to do? Like, what else is a Jewish kid going to do, right?
Yes.
So I put in le droit, and then my mom calls me before we started law school, and she said, hey, you got into law school. And I said, I forgot that I had applied. So me and my mom went to Sherbrooke, packed my bags, j'ai fait mon droit, mon bac à Sherbrooke,
Okay.
and then I came back here, and I started practicing in a very traditional way. Prosecutor for the city of Montreal, divorces, contracts, corporate stuff. And at a certain point I said, you know what, I gotta express myself as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And the answer was legal logic, more transparent, more kind of, geared for entrepreneurs, and I'm kind of the result of that.
Cool. So before we talk about your Jamie Benizri, the entrepreneur, and legal logics, I want to talk about your grandfather, because I know for sure that your grandfather has been an inspiration to you. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. It's a sensitive point for me because I had such a great relationship, with him growing up. And when people ask me about my mentors, when people ask me about the people that I've looked out to, when I think about everything that he's gone through.
Yes.
And it's not just isolated to the Jewish people. It's not just special to any one culture. Every culture has gone through these transitions.
Yes.
His family was exceptionally persecuted, in the war. And when he came here, no excuses, no victim, poor me.
Yes.
It's like I got to do everything to survive, everything for my family. And I spoke about this at the Grow Rich event.
Yep.
Yes.
And these were a lot of the things that I didn't realize had shaped me. So when I'm working 100 hours a week and people are just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I think I'm supposed to be doing this."
Yes.
So all of this comes from my grandfather and the values that I saw him work. I saw him miss birthdays and things to sacrifice for his family. So for me, that's been a huge inspiration in terms of work ethic and the way that somebody's supposed to take care of their family and kind of be within a community. So hugely important for me.
And there's, I think, Grow Rich, you talk about perseverance.
Yes.
Because that's something that you learned from your grandfather, and then you say there's two types of perseverance. What are they?
So that's great. There's passive and active perseverance. So I think that today we all get up, we do, either we work for, Canada Post or another organization where things are structured.
Yep.
We could be passionate about what we do. We could really like the people that we work with, but is it our dream? Is it what we want to do in life?
Yes.
And you guys talk a lot about that.
Yes.
Following your dreams, and you guys are these guys are relentlessly pursuing their dreams. And honestly, huge respect for that. But for me, passive perseverance is going through the motions, getting by, doing a job because society or your parents told you this is the way things happen. Active perseverance is when you take things into your own hands.
Yes.
Alulu, or Road to IPO, the Grow Rich events, and you say, you know what, I'm going to shape my own destiny. I'm going to express myself as an entrepreneur, and this is who I am. This is what I want to do in life. That's active. That's being in control of your destiny.
Yes.
Which I think you guys are doing.
Good, thank you. Hey, by the way, we are live on Facebook just then, Antoine Airoldi Show, and also I believe we're live.
Guys.
We're live here too in front of the cameras here, and
What's up?
let's talk about Jamie Benizri, the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So why Jamie? Why did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
For me, entrepreneurship. Sometimes I wish I could turn it off.
Okay.
Sometimes I wish I could take a vacation for 2 weeks
Okay.
and not pick up my phone.
Okay.
Can't do it.
No.
I don't know if you can, but I definitely can. I doubt that you guys can either. For me, entrepreneurship was almost an obligation. I had no choice.
Okay.
When I looked at myself as a lawyer and as a person with the alternatives out there as a lawyer, I'm thinking to myself, I don't really fit with any culture. I don't fit within a downtown culture. I don't fit within, some sort of organigram where I fit the mold of work for 15 years, bill 1,700 hours a year, and become partner. I never fit in that mold. I never felt comfortable. And quite frankly, those structures didn't really know what to do with me.
Okay.
Because I came in, I had my own entrepreneurial aspirations. I did things differently. I started businesses in college. I invested in real estate really young. So for me, entrepreneurship was the default.
Okay.
because I didn't know what else to do.
It was the way out.
It was the way out. It was a way for me to grow without going through the regular channels.
Okay.
So, entrepreneurship should not be taken lightly. And I think today my biggest concern
Yes.
is that we are in this ecosystem where entrepreneurship is sensationalized. Everybody gets into it, and we have no idea what we're getting involved with. Just the way I got into law, I had no idea what I was getting involved with.
Okay.
I saw it on TV. Your parents tell you it's a good profession, but I have when I stepped into a law firm the first day, that's when I realized what it was. So entrepreneurship for me is a double-edged sword. And for some people have no choice but to be entrepreneurs, either because they're immigrants and nobody wants to give them a job.
Yes.
Or they're kind of misfits, kind of like us, where we do want to do things differently. So it's not easy, but I mean it's something that I think is kind of deep within you.
But why did you decide to stay in law? Because you said you were in real estate and then you opened your business in law. Why?
That's a very
what's
good
something
question.
attractive?
Very good question. I never actually liked law school at all.
Okay.
Got into law and I said, I just basically put my head down and said, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish it.
Okay.
And then I said, let me try it out. I don't want to waste all these years of training. Let me try it. And I tried it and I really liked the experience. And so for me, I think I would be happy. And I love law, but more importantly, I love the people that I serve. I love the entrepreneurs that I hang out with. I love doing interviews like this because it allows for us to connect.
Yes.
So for me, law was just a channel for me to be an entrepreneur. I could have been selling cars, I think. I could have been selling fucking flowers.
Yeah.
And I think I would have been happy.
So you picked law, but you could have picked anything else as well.
Yeah, I think I could have picked anything else. And quite frankly, and I've been thinking a lot about this lately, is I think it would have been easier for me to choose anything else. Okay. I think I would have made a lot more money. I think I would have had a lot less stress. And I think I would have reached my entrepreneurial dreams or benchmarks faster. Because I'm in a space where entrepreneurship is not practiced.
Yes.
To have a legal brain, a legal right side brain, and an entrepreneur left side brain is inconsistent. Because when I'm trying to dot T's and cross I's, in court, and then I'm running out and I'm writing, we're doing Facebook Lives and we're interacting with people, it's two different skill sets.
Yes, true.
So I have to switch between these roles super seamlessly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I could have chosen anything, and quite frankly, sometimes I wish I had, because I think it would have been easier.
Do you want to sell airplanes like Beryl?
Yeah. Maybe.
Talking about that, Beryl.
Yeah.
He wants to sell airplanes. So.
He wants to sell airplanes. Beryl, if you're watching, brother, you and me will go head to head with Bombardier. We're gonna take out the C series and we're gonna make the W series for the wealthy jets.
Cool. So, Antoine, any questions about entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So talk to us more about your personal brand and LinkedIn. How you got started with LinkedIn.
Yeah, good question. So I have a new training platform that I've created, which was essentially kind of therapeutic for me to say, what am I doing on LinkedIn? Where's the ROI? Am I making any money?
Yeah.
So when we hired a controller, the controller said, why are you doing all this? Why are you spending all this money? We had a huge budget, which we've now brought to $0.
Okay.
And he's like, where's the ROI? Facebook ads, this, that, da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know, people like the posts and they must come to see me.
Yeah.
He's like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I don't know. That's the way it works. and then so he challenged me a lot, and I'm like, fuck, I can't even answer him.
Yeah.
So in thinking about what I've done on LinkedIn and the way that I've posted organically, and I don't even talk about law anymore. They're all off topic.
Yeah.
These are all things that are just like about me talking about kind of the experience that I had with you guys, and people engage with that.
Yes.
People already know I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I don't need to talk about that anymore. It's all about, is this the kind of guy that I want to be in business with? And do I see myself hiring him to be my lawyer? And that's kind of, I think, where people connected and where my engagement went through the roof.
Engagement, yeah.
So, I have a no, I wouldn't say a course, but it's more of a keynote that I give now called Thumbs Up Networking, and that is essentially kind of my secret sauce. What have I done to find patterns in my posting and the way that I post? And so I gave one recently at Asante, Quebec, and I was at McGill last night actually, and more people are interested in saying, well, how is this lawyer leveraging social media?
Yes.
Is it working? And can I do that as a financial planner, as a broker, as a real estate agent, as a doctor, how is this guy doing it? And that's kind of been my newest spiel.
Do people find that odd, or are people getting used to it?
I think people find it weird for sure, and but I think it makes sense. And so I open this keynote by saying, we're buzzing everywhere. I open my keynote by saying, Andy Warhol said it best.
Yes.
Everybody has 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody has 15 minutes. Today it's 100% true. You and I have the same platforms as GE, as Bombardier, as SNC-Lavalin. They have nothing on you. Okay, and you guys leverage that and you take advantage of that in a way that bigger brands aren't even going near that. So I think that your fame today is a consequence, and mine really is or whatever we call it, fame, is a consequence of that. Is really because we've leveled the playing field, and now I think more than ever, people want to lift what I call the cultural veil to see who's behind the brand. Who's behind a Lulu? Who's behind Legal Logic? And who's behind whatever your brand is? I think it's just Antoine Airoldi. You don't have a fancy brand yet. You are the fancy brand. You're the fancy logo. But right now, I think it's people want to know who you're doing business with, and who's behind the brand. And you can't hide behind the logo. You can't hide behind the business cards anymore. So when I open the gates of Legal Logic and it's just me, what do I stand for? And that's the message that I'm trying to communicate.
So can you tell to the people that are watching this or listening to this podcast, how having a personal brand really changed your career?
I think having a personal brand allows you to drive your audience to what's important to you as an entrepreneur. So for me, it's Legal Logic, or TicketAid, or a lot of the other brands that I'm part of, either on the board or some of the causes. You've seen me talk a lot about the Lakeshore. So these are all causes for me. This is my principal business where we're sitting right now, but then there's causes that are dear to me. Cause marketing is really important to me. So I try to leverage my personal network, and that's where it's been the most success. Taking all of the credibility that I've built, and hopefully I have some, and diverting that to the places that are important to me, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, and as a member of the community.
So everyone should build a personal brand.
100%. I think you have to. I think you have no choice. You're living embodiment of that. You are your brand. And I think that today everyone's their own walking personal billboard. So Legal Logic gets engagement, and people know the brand, they interact with the brand, but it's not the same. It's not the same. I want to know who's behind the brand. I want to meet and get to know that person behind the brand.
So let's talk about Legal Logics. So what type of company it is? Because it was nominated as the most innovative law firm in Canada from 2015 and 2016. So people want to know exactly what does Legal Logic do.
Legal Logic is a lifestyle legal brand, which, for the first time, we want entrepreneurs to feel comfortable syncing up with a law firm to get their legal services, but to get their legal information so that they're empowered. So that they don't always have to pay a lawyer to do something. I can send them a guide. And you talk a lot about that in your marketing strategies. How do I give somebody a 9-step guide to running your own lawsuit? And so you don't have to sit down with a lawyer. And that's why I wrote the book. Entrepreneur Inc. is essentially that. It's all the questions and things that entrepreneurs keep asking me. Do I need to be incorporated? What happens if I get sued? What happens if this? What happens if that? I took all these stories and I put it into a guide. So for $10, you can buy the book instead of consulting somebody for $200, $300, $400, $500 to get the answers. Because now, we have the resources, and it's not for me to be the gatekeeper of the information. I just basically want to redistribute the information so people can make really quick decisions that are available. So Legal Logic is a legal reference for entrepreneurs and business people and individuals who are in litigation or kind of conflict situations, and empower them to give them all the tools they need to make the right decision, without talking about fees immediately, and making sure that people feel comfortable.
So you're giving value, a lot of value.
Yes, I'm trying to. I've always tried to. So the communication message. It's like I'm turning my back on the live, man. The communication message. I'm coming at you. The communication message that we're giving is one where you get the information, you get the value before you're asked for $1. So there's videos available for you to make an informed decision. There's going to be guides, there's going to be contracts, there's going to be models, there's going to be templates, and there's going to be kind of la transparence dans les forfaits that we're offering to the public. But more importantly, it's a place for you to get to know about law and where you fit in kind of in the law.
Cool.
Because it usually is very scary,
Yeah,
complicated,
yeah.
and most entrepreneurs don't want to go there.
What about startups? Because you work with a lot of startups, so how do you see the startup community in Montreal?
The startup community is, I think, on fire in Montreal.
Yeah,
I think it's
fire.
great.
True.
So I think Montreal has a great startup scene. And, my biggest concern that it goes back to, last time is what are we doing with all these startups, and do they have a hope in hell of succeeding?
Yeah.
Because what happens is that these entrepreneurs come out through the gate,
Yep.
pumping their chest, saying, I'm going to make it, I'm going to raise. And there's no business plan. There's no, minimum viable, there's no, minimal viable product. There's nothing to show for it. And people are asking me to introduce them to venture capitalists and to people for the raise.
Yeah.
So there's a huge disconnect where people think that they go into business, there's money waiting for them,
Yeah.
and it's a huge reality check. So I've tried to contribute to that, les lacunes in the startup community by doing things like Logic Lab.
Is it because entrepreneurship is on a pedestal right now?
It is. I think it's sensationalized. We have this this vision of being our own boss and that it's going to be great and that nobody can control my own destiny. And I think that's great.
Okay.
And I have nothing to say about that. But I think it comes with huge sacrifices that people don't realize.
So do you think there's ever going to be a platform or conference that doesn't really because usually most conferences they value entrepreneurship and they say like, oh well, entrepreneurship is like this, it's like this. They're really glamour. It's really glamour, right?
Glamorized, yeah.
Glamorized, right? So then, shouldn't there be conferences where they say the complete opposite and really show the facts? Of
That's good.
Like they would show you basically how to grow the business and how to scale the business, opposed to just talking about.
That's a great idea. First of all, there's Fuck Up Nights.
Okay.
You guys know Fuck Up Nights?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's an international platform. They have chapters in every city. Actually, I spoke at Fuck Up Nights because I fucked up a lot. And it's actually called Fuck Up Nights. And you have, I think, 10 minutes to talk about all your fuck ups. And there's 3 speakers, and it's a cute platform. So that's a great place to go and learn like real stuff that's not sugar-coated.
Yeah.
But I think you should have maybe make a TV show, man, where you follow startups and entrepreneurs and profile it. Let's get a budget. I'll help you sell it.
So Jamie, what are some of the things you fuck up for the audience?
I think that my biggest fuck ups are the ones where I thinking that you can do everything.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I think that entrepreneurs have Superman complexes
Okay.
where they say, whatever, it's just accounting, it's just law, it's sales I'm good at and everything's gonna flow from sales.
Yes.
Our biggest issue is that we traditionally generated more clients and kind of business than we were able to handle even on our accounting side. So it created a disconnect. And on top of that, managing a staff, keeping staff engaged, making sure that staff are happy and that there's room for them to grow, requires a whole different set of skills. So to all my staff that are watching, I think about you all the time, and I'm thinking about making life, easier for all of us. And so there's all these concerns that you don't think about. How do you take into consideration when somebody's sick, when somebody's having a baby?
Okay.
What do you do when that person has a baby? Do you freak out, or are you going to find a replacement? So all these things that you'll never learn in school ever. Yeah. There's no school that will ever teach these things.
True, yeah.
So my best advice is, learn from somebody else's mistakes.
Okay.
Try to finance your dream in an industry that you think you want to be at, without going into the business, itself. Learn through the ropes.
Okay.
And surround yourself by the people who do things better than you.
True.
Yeah.
I'm not the best lawyer in the world. I'm not good in accounting because I don't have time to oversee all the financial controls.
Okay.
I'm not the best manager because I'm not here all the time.
Okay.
I can maybe be a better leader.
Yes.
Because I have certain qualities, but it doesn't make me a good manager. It doesn't make me a good financial controller, and it doesn't make me a good the best lawyer. So I need to take all these considerations into effect and make sure that all the people around me are kind of floating up my pitfalls.
Sure.
Awesome. So let's talk about LinkedIn again, because you made a LinkedIn Awards ceremony. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us more about that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
What's up?
What up, Jane Stewart? LinkedIn Awards. So LinkedIn Awards was a stroke of, it was like that aha moment when I was at McGill, because we were doing an event with McGill's Eat Science, the science departments. I was filming with Justin Morgenstein, and as I was interviewing somebody, literally I cut off the guy I was interviewing. I took Justin's phone and I made a note to him, and I said sorry, and I'm like, give me your phone, and I made a note saying award ceremony LinkedIn, and I sent it to myself, so I wouldn't forget.
Okay.
And he's like, what was that about? Like, what was that about? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And so after he's like, what was that? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, the LinkedIn Awards. I'm like, I want to try to help recognize all the people that are doing great things in the community across different platforms and across different categories. And let's do it for the benefit of the hospital.
Okay.
And it really was within 3 weeks. The sponsors came in. We had our place, you guys were there, a place near the hotel and a place near the airport. And it became this great cause that everybody in the city rallied around, not only to pay homage and to recognize people that are doing great things in Montreal, but to raise money for the Lakeshore. So it was a win-win. Super great momentum, super great vibes. People are still messaging me today. And what's up, Joy? What's up, Paul? People are still messaging me today to talk about what's next. How do I get involved?
Yeah.
And so that was how it was born. It happened within 3 weeks. We grinded next level to make it happen, and it was great. We had a great time.
Right. Why, Jamie? Why are you giving so much?
I don't know. That's a really good question, man.
Why are you giving so much to not just to the community, but to the hospitals, to the foundation? Where does it come? This.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, it hasn't been a question of kind of popularizing Jamie Benizri or making sure that he's at the top of your news feed.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of become this obligation of me saying, I have an audience.
Okay.
My audience is listening to what I'm saying. I have an obligation to respect the time that they're giving me and do something worthwhile and meaningful with the attention that they're giving me. Yeah. And I can't think of a better way to do that than to give back to the communities, to give back to them. Yeah. How do you pay them dividends? True. Fuck, you're following me, I'm following you, and we're connected, on this broad platform, and I want to recognize you because you're doing great things, and it's not really about me. So I think the reason why I do these things is that for me it's immensely gratifying to bring something to the community that never existed before, where to do something that no one's ever done, and to change the paradigm shift, whether it's law. So when people think law, they think Jamie Benizri, legal logic disruptor. Okay. I want that's the perception I want to give, because I don't want people just to think about law just like your grandfather's lawyer who sat there with stains on his shirt, charging $1,000 an hour. I'm trying to change the paradigm, and I think for me, community, business, and networking should all be together. Okay. Like there's no more, I do business here, I shake hands and I hand out business cards there, and I'm part of a local church, mosque, or synagogue on Saturdays. And these are mutually exclusive circles. Mm-hmm. Like those days are over. Like it's not the way it works anymore. We live in an integrated society where everything's interconnected. Yeah. True. So I have clients that are mosques. I have a huge portion of my client base, which is Lebanese, Moroccan, Egyptian, who are either Muslim or Lebanese or even Jewish. Yes. So for me, it's no longer a question of I live in 3 spheres: community, business, and kind of networking. Okay. For me, it's how to integrate all 3. Okay. And I think that's the most gratifying thing. If I can be the connector and create these experiences like the LinkedIn event that brings together the business community is generating money and buzz for a cause. Yes. And we're generating profits and we're making money together, I'm happy.
Do you think entrepreneurs should be more like that, connectors?
100%. Yeah. 100%. I think it's essential. I mean, I think it's so greedy for us to collect business cards like this, put them in a shelf, and just not do anything with them. When we spend so much time on business cards and talking about our profiles, it's a shame that we don't connect people and that we're not looking for opportunities to create value for you guys. So if I know that there's somebody who's in manufacturing who needs, who's doing amazing stuff and deserves and would be a really great fit for you guys for an interview, I mean, it's greedy for me not to introduce you guys. Okay.
Okay.
And I think as we do that, the Chinese have a term called guangxi.
Yeah.
Guangxi? Guangxi. They have a term called guangxi, which is essentially this concept of reciprocity in a community. So you have an immediate community,
Yeah.
and you're able to call upon that community for favors.
Okay.
You need money because your wife is not well. You need a job. You are looking for a car. You're able to draw on that community. That community helps you
Yes.
without even expecting anything in return.
Okay.
And one day they're going to call upon you. And this whole concept of guangxi is that you're able to leverage your community to bring it value, but then the value will come back because it's the rules of reciprocity.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter where we're from in any country, we all have this built into our DNA, where if I do favors for you, you're going to feel indebted to me.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
You feel obligated to do something for me.
True.
There's only so much you can take. And if you don't reciprocate eventually, then obviously it's a problem and the relationship is damaged. But generally, every culture has guangxi. The Chinese just have a really cool way of saying it.
Cool. So we're almost at the end of the podcast.
No, man, let's keep going. Let's keep going. How long did Barrel go for?
Hold on.
We were about done. I don't know.
25
after
minutes,
25
5
minutes.
Okay, good. Let's go for 45 minutes.
No, but there's something interesting that I saw on your social media is when you go to the walk-ins events and you take business cards, but you never call back after.
You're saying I don't call back?
No, people take
yeah,
business.
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure you call.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Why it's so important to just call back after?
You know,
say hi, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. We spend so much time, it's like I said, I mean, we sacrifice our families.
Yes,
So we sacrifice family time.
yes, true.
Instead of being around the dinner table where we should all be at 5 o'clock, we're shaking hands and trying to make contacts. Instead of being with your friends or being at work,
Yeah.
we're at social settings, sipping martinis and eating shitty food when we should be doing other things.
Yeah.
So I think it's a shame that people sacrifice all of that,
Okay.
go to these events, take cards
Yeah.
because that's what you're supposed to do,
Yes.
and then they don't do anything with it. It's such a lost opportunity
Yeah,
cost
true.
that for me makes no sense. So, the simplest thing is if I'm having a conversation with you,
Yeah.
and we're talking about the Chicago Bears,
Yes.
and we connect with the Chicago Bears, I'm not looking to try to sell you something the next day. If I say, what do you do for work? Oh, yeah, and you're wearing a Bears pin, I say, oh, you like the Bears, and we connect on the Bears and we talk about something. I'm not going to hit you back up with an email saying, great to meet you. I'd love to help you out, and you look like you were in a bad place. I'd like to help you divorce your wife. And if you ever need legal services, I'm here and I'm the best. It's kind of like take it easy. Like we're still kind of at foreplay.
Yeah.
But all you need to do is say, great to meet you. Go Bears, go.
Okay. Just that.
Can't wait to see you at the next event. It creates that. Okay, there was no ask.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of selling without selling, I think is so pertinent because we're so used to being sold.
Okay. Yes.
Go with me, I'm the best. Use my printer. I want to sell you my office supplies. Use Rogers instead of TELUS.
Yeah.
We're so used to it that we're fed up, we're saturated. So I think the fact of connecting, at this point for me, is my entire sales model.
Okay.
Is trying to connect and build relationships before asking for a single goddamn thing. And I think that for me has been the most effective thing, is bring value first to the people around you. And once you've tried your hardest,
Yes.
you can't always bring value, but if you've tried your hardest or if you can't bring value, connect them with somebody who can.
Hey, Jamie, let's talk about work ethic. Because I don't know about you, but they say that Jamie Benizri has 72 hours a day.
You say that?
Yeah, they say that. I'm like, I don't know, I have like maybe 12 hours. But let's talk about the hustle. Because how do you maximize your day, Jamie? How do you put so much work in one day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I think that there's great books that are written about things that you have to sacrifice in your life to boost up the other circles. So there's five things in life, and they talk about social. You probably know these off by heart, but social life, professional life, health, family, and sleep.
Yes.
Those are the 5 circles of life, and you have to sacrifice 2 of those things in order to keep a really good baseline status quo with the other 3.
Yeah.
So I really sacrifice sleep and social life. My social life has been wound into my professional life.
Okay.
That's how I've compensated that for that, and a lot of my friends have become clients. My clients have become friends. And look, I mean, I try to wake up at 4 a.m. I try to, have that alone time where I can just focus on emails and contracts and legal work for a couple of hours. Then my kids wake up. Then it's, the morning grind until they're gone and on the bus. And then I'm back to grinding, and it's all a blur until 6 o'clock. And then I'm either at an event really quickly, or 3 or 4 times a week, hopefully, I'm home, hanging out with the kids, trying to put them to bed, and kind of, being like a family dude. So, and then I'm back on the computer, and I'm, hustling until, midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'll try to sleep 4 or 5 hours and repeat that mode until the weekend, where I try not to do anything. But, I think, guys like Gary Vee said it best. It's like, it's not how many hours you sleep that you should wear like a badge of honor. I think it's kind of, what you're doing, when you're awake. And so, the people that, that are proud about waking up at 4, like, what time are they going to sleep? Are they, most of the radio guys I know are sleeping by 7 and they're up at 2 because they have to get to the station, right? So that's a 7-8 hours sleep. So, if we look at the same, they're sleeping the same as anyone else. So, I mean, I don't think it's the fact of, you don't have to sleep deprive. I just think that we all need to work smarter. Because I think naturally we think that being busy is good, and we're occupied and we're not thinking about, other things. But I think we need to figure out, log our time. And if you're spending way too much time in something that you don't see any return on value of, just get rid of that and start focusing on other things. Because you need to find that balance. It's not sustainable. Even to do what I'm doing, it's not sustainable to work 17 hours a day. Your life is going to be miserable. I mean, you have to live, right? And I'm lucky that I love what I do and I love who I do it with. So it's not really work for me. I'm just kind of always trying to operate on a baseline, level. And on the weekend I crash pretty hard. And so I don't network on the weekends. I try not to see anyone except for, close friends on the weekend. I'm with my family and I'm doing shit around the house and I'm on the ice with my kids. But I'm not, I'm trying, my weekend schedule is very different than my week schedule. Big time.
You have a cameraman that follows you, huh?
Not all the time. So we do, we have like a marketing team that'll do things like this. And for events that we do that are kind of more higher profile, or that there's just a bigger surface and more activity to cover, then we have,
because there's one time you say I'm more with my cameraman than my wife.
I mean, it may have been partially true, but I mean, you spend a lot. You have to love what you do because you spend so much time with the people you do with. I mean, you probably spend more time with Antoine than your girlfriend, or your parents, and you probably see him more than your girlfriend. But that's what life is. I mean, we all have to do something during the day, and it's the same thing with your girlfriend. She's spending more time with other people than with you, probably. But we all have the same dilemma. So we have to love who we're doing, who we're working with on a daily basis, and I'm lucky that I do.
Cool. Any last questions on your part, Antoine?
Yeah. So where can people follow you on social media?
You can follow Jamie Benizri's adventures on Jamie Benizri, just that, Jamie Benizri. I have a business channel called Jamie Benizri Entrepreneur, which is more kind of, business driven. There's more kind of anecdotal business stuff. And LinkedIn is where I do most of my crimes.
Cool.
And you also have a show, right, on social media?
Yeah, so we have the Parlay Show, which is a kind of a talk show that I have with Malik. Multidisciplinary. We kind of interview people from all different walks of life around the city, cultural and businessy. And we're hosting a great event, Networking with the World. I hope you're going to be there. That's going to be the 17th at Bordel. I'm going to get you guys tickets. And for the community as well. If you guys want tickets, Networking with the World at Bordel. It's going to be on the 17th. Hit these guys up. They'll hook you up with tickets. I'm going to get these guys a batch of tickets as well, okay?
I have a last question because I love technology. And so where do you see the law industry with the rise of AI?
I think that there is I've been talking a lot about the empathic or empathy. And the only thing that's going to distinguish people from machines in this digital era is the fact that we can show empathy. We can share our experiences, and I can look at your face And if you look at me a certain way, I can react to that. I can say, okay, let me repeat myself, because I know that you don't understand what I'm saying. And I know you're laughing, so that you thought that was funny. Or maybe you're just being nice. I don't know. But machines can't tell that. And I don't think machines are going to be able to have those, be able to assess those cues for a long time. So the only thing that makes us human, that makes us AI-proof, is the fact that we can express emotion and empathy in our posts, in our interactions, and in the way that we deal with on a daily basis. So I think that AI is good for really standard acts. Like if you give me this thing and you say, find me how many times a word is in here, AI is essential.
Yes.
So for 100%. But I think that we're really far from law being taken over by AI, because AI machines do not have the interpersonal skills that are required to assess really complex situations that require input, that require that experience and that knowledge. But I think it's going to knock out a huge portion of the law industry, which I think is great.
Maybe can give you more time to be Jamie Benizri, the brand.
Yeah, so I'm okay with becoming an avatar. In fact, we're working on code that's going to make me into just a piece of code where I can just answer questions automatically, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Good. Hey, it was fun. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alulu.
Thank you, man.
What's Alulu, by the way?
Well, I wanted to launch like a digital receipt app, and the first guy that got a receipt in the world was a guy named Alulu.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I just took it.
That's a great name. Antoine, always a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
And I got to say, my last parting words is, I've been following you guys a lot, and your journey is well documented, and love you or hate you guys. I love you guys, but I love you guys, but I mean, the fact that you guys are putting yourself out there, consistently grinding and putting out the same consistent message is huge.
Yes.
So, and I know that you guys are in it for the long run, and I congratulate you, because I have a lot of respect for what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Jamie.
So keep it up, man. I'm really impressed with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.